Have you ever tried to meditate and it feels like you're just failing? Because your mind just will not shut up. Well, what if I told you that struggle, that exact feeling, is actually the first sign that you're doing it right? Seriously. Let's get into the science of how just 5 minutes a day can literally rewire your brain for the better.
This idea from Dr. Richie Davidson, who's a total pioneer in the neuroscience of meditation, well, it changes everything. Think about it like this. When you lift weights, your muscles burn, right? That's lactic acid, and it's a signal that they're being challenged and they're going to grow that stronger. This, lactate of the mind, is the exact same thing, but for your brain. So it's not failure, it's the feeling of neuroplasticity actually kicking in.
Okay, so if that mental chaos is actually a good thing, what's happening on a biological level? I mean, how does feeling like you're totally messing up lead to a stronger, more resilient mind? That is the fascinating process we are about to break down. Right, first things first, we have to completely tear down the single biggest myth about meditation. It's the one that makes most people quit, and it's this idea that the goal is to have a perfectly quiet, empty mind. That is not the goal, especially not when you're starting out.
The real goal at the beginning is to develop a skill called meta-awareness. See, it's not about stopping the thoughts, it's about noticing the thoughts. Imagine you're just sitting on a riverbank, and your thoughts are like leaves floating by. You don't have to jump into the river, you just watch them drift past. That's it. That's meta-awareness. You're becoming the observer of all that chaos.
And here's the absolute key. Every single time your mind wanders off, and you gently, without judgment, bring it back, you're basically doing a bicep curl for your brain. That struggle, that friction between being distracted and being focused, that is the very thing that stimulates new and stronger neural pathways. It's not a bug, it's the entire feature.
And this mental workout, it strengthens very specific parts of your brain, and it makes them work together in a profoundly more effective way.
So inside your head, there are these two key networks that are kind of in a constant tug-of-war. On one side, you've got the executive network. Think of it as your brain's CEO. It handles focus, problem-solving, all the goal-oriented stuff. And on the other side, you've got the default mode network. That's your inner chatterbox. It's responsible for mind-wandering, thinking about yourself, dwelling on the past, worrying about the future.
Now, this is what is so incredible. Meditation literally strengthens the biological bridge. It's like a superhighway of nerve fibers that connects your CEO and your chatterbox. A stronger bridge means your CEO brain gets way better at managing your wandering mind. It means you get to choose where you place your attention, instead of just being dragged around by it. Strengthening your brain's hardware is amazing. But what's the actual real-world benefit? Well, it's all about building what's called distress tolerance, the ability to handle tough emotions without getting completely overwhelmed.
We have all been here. Neuroscientists have a term for it, experiential fusion. It's that moment when a strong emotion, like anxiety or anger, just takes over. You don't just feel anxious, you are anxious. This is what happens when your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, gets overactive and basically hijacks your rational mind.
So how do you stop the hijack? The technique is surprisingly simple. The moment you put a name to the emotion, literally just thinking the words, "this is anxiety" or "this is frustration," you engage your prefrontal cortex, your CEO brain. And this action sends a calming signal down to the amygdala. It's like a dimmer switch on that raw primitive alarm.
Which brings us to the protocol itself, the simple, science-backed routine you can start today to put all of this into practice.
That's it. That is the magic number. Just 5 minutes a day. The science actually shows this is a powerful enough dose to create real, measurable changes in your brain and your body. It makes it an incredibly accessible practice for absolutely anyone.
So here are the rules for what we're calling the Richie's 5 Challenge. 5 minutes every single day for 30 consecutive days. And look, the most important thing to remember is this. Consistency is way more important than intensity. A messy 5 minutes every single day is infinitely better than a perfect hour once a week.
And hey, if you need a little more motivation, just look at the results from actual randomized controlled trials. This exact 5-minute protocol physically lowers a key marker for inflammation in your body. It measurably improves symptoms of anxiety and depression. And, as we've been talking about, it literally changes the physical structure of your brain.
Now here's a pro tip, especially if you have a particularly loud inner critic. It's a technique called shunya, or void meditation. Instead of focusing on your breath itself, you place all of your attention on that tiny momentary gap of stillness between your exhale and your next inhale. In that little microsecond, there's just quiet. It's a great anchor point.
This daily practice, it all builds to a really profound shift in your perspective. Over time, it does more than just calm you down. It changes your entire relationship with your own mind. And this is the ultimate insight. Through this practice of meta-awareness, you start to realize on a deep level that you are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears the voice. You're not the storm of thoughts and emotions. You are the sky that the storm is passing through. That separation, that is the foundation of real mental freedom.
And so, this leaves us with a final question to just reflect on. If you can stand back and observe the part of you that thinks and worries and plans, then who exactly is the one doing the observing? That quiet, aware presence that's behind all the noise. That's a question the practice itself helps you answer.